meters.
Great.
T4E.
Okay. Okay. All right, let me just write down a few things. And we'll probably just continue along towards 1C.
Gonna do a quick DVL reset. That's better. Okay, I've zoomed out here on HYPACK. You can see where we are and where 1C is. So we could go straight there, which will be slightly down, or we could follow. Just go east along contour, and then eventually we'll have to go down slope directly to see.
Do what makes sense. I mean, we want to get to C. It doesn't have to be a straight line. So do whatever makes sense in terms of the ROV traveling, along the contour. I guess you don't want to go down slope too much, right?
Yeah, I think that probably going along contour will be best, and then.
How far are we into this transect?
The transect has ended.
We just ended. We ended it around 10 o'clock, UTC.
Yeah, that was 150 meters transect. This 1C is about 700 meters away. I think we'll just move east and keep the viz decent. And once we get there, we may have to go down slope a bit funny. At least we'll have 700 good meters of viz. Okay, ready for some east moves?
Alrighty.
Okay. Bridge nav. One step, 100 meters east, and speed 0.5. Is that good? Let me take a look at how we're progressing along this here. In general, so we do have, what do we have, 20 hours on this dive? 22 hours.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Made considerable headway.
Good. So we're not really behind schedule.
No, I think the opposite.
Okay.
We might.
Well, let's enjoy the view, and hopefully we'll get into some interesting habitat.
Look at my schedule here.
Erica, what can you tell us about marine snow?
Oh boy. Marine snow is a sort of a global term in terms of what's falling down upon the seafloor from the surface waters and the midwater. And it contains fecal pellets from other animals. It can be housing from like larvaceans that create these web-like structures to collect their food. And they shed those periodically, and those sink to the bottom. And so marine snow can actually be a great carbon source for the deep sea, which is food for them. So occasionally we'll see, like right now in the water column, you'll see a lot of particulates. Some of that is marine snow. Some of it could be sediment stirred up. I did see a larvacean house a while back. I'll try and point that out next time. I'm going to monitor the science chat for a second. Okay, we're good. Yeah, so it is, a lot of research has been done recently on the marine snow and especially larvation houses, and they create an enormous amount of carbon for animals on the seafloor.
What is that
Um,
There's
one?
a black-tailed snailfish.
Snailfish.
oh, great.
Working on something on there. So is marine snow or some components of it what coral is gathering with their polyps?
They could, definitely. Yep. Corals will pick out things with their polyps from what's ever floating by in the water column. So it could definitely be marine snow.
It certainly feels like driving at night with headlights into a snowstorm.
Definitely. When you're in those Sierra Mountains with your chains on and you can't see anything.
Mm-hmm.
I'm tugging you.
Yeah.
Odd.
Hmm.
I think we can
Almost looks like
we
there's
can speed them up again if you want.
Yeah, I was just gonna say actually we're kind of probably a little bit ahead of schedule if we wanna, but I don't see much to zoom around at. So scientists feel free to ask to zoom in on stuff.
Okay, as long as we can see the seafloor as we travel,
Yeah.
that'd be great.
Bridge nav. Let's increase speed to 0.7. Thank you.
Got my training wheels on here, right?
What was that? Your
Joy gain set to 10%.
so now you can just sit, float,
What's that?
just sit.
Oh, that's 10%. It's still, I can turn it up a little.
Oh, your joy gain. I was thinking about your Z bias. Sorry.
Oh, it's in auto altitude.
Yeah.
Classic mix-up.
Classic. It's in the same section of the screen.
Trying to work out if you, since everything's going east, so pin that and then dial this to some. $20 is too much.
Yeah.
Dan,
So
what
a
is?
few embelly. Sorry, go ahead.
No, go ahead.
I was just gonna say we're seeing a lot more umbellula here.
There's an ophiuroid on a sea pen. It's the first one. They've all
Right.
been naked so far.
beautiful soul.
Some kind of scary looking crab. What is that?
You want to take a better look?
Yeah.
Can if you want.
We're good.
Doesn't look like it's right
Might
side
just
up.
be.
Is that a yes or a no?
You can keep moving. Thank you.
Sorry, I didn't hear.
You can keep moving. Thank you.
Roger.
Okay, I'm gonna keep adding another step. We're still moving. Bridge nav. Let's do one more step. 100 meters bearing east. Thank you.
Oh, what happened there? Ah, topside, finally.
Did it happen?
Yeah.
Is Ben here?
No, we don't need Ben.
Yeah, but he's here. I don't know if he wanted to watch it to see it.
He's here anyways. Hey, what am I gonna do to, I gotta touch that button. Like, why is the sub going so fast? Yeah, I just haven't got there yet. Just pushing buttons here.
Is that your official title, button pusher?
What?
Official title of button pusher. Yeah. Yeah. That's what.
Do you want me to hold position on the ship there?
No, I'm good.
Okay.
I'm not sure why I'm not moving. Sorry.
I think you're in the dirt.
I think you were tugging me. Pretty good.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh, that's why.
I'm spun around a little bit.
Seems strange.
Hey.
Argus is facing north. You're facing east. You're stuck in the ground. Why would you be tugging though? Are you that far ahead?
No, what happened is I had the Dragon set it 15% with the stick pinned and locked.
Yeah.
And when that happened,
yeah,
it went to 100%.
Oh.
And
went to 100. Yeah.
I was like, why are we going so fast?
My auto heading also came off when it rebooted, so that's
the auto heading. Got it.
Yep.
Man, a lot of stuff happens in that reboot, huh? It's better than what doesn't happen. Or it's better than what happens if it doesn't reboot. There we go. Okay, all makes sense now.
As much as things can make sense at 3 in the morning.
We had a technical glitch there, and it took the pilots a few minutes to work out what was going on.
Okay, Jake, eventually you're going to want to bring around to east.
East?
That's the way we're moving.
Got it.
Supposed to be moving east.
Yeah.
Okay, how about some
proverbial
weird
bump
stories?
in the road.
Yeah. Sorry, what was that?
What are some of the weirdest things people have seen down here?
Weirdest things.
And where?
Let's see.
An octopus living in a teapot. Or no, octopus living in a rice cooker.
Rice cooker, yeah.
Rice cooker.
Oh, really?
An octopus
Where was
brooding
that?
in a rice cooker. And when we opened
are
the
you
door,
kidding?
she was angry and shut it again.
I wonder if she figured out how to press the button to open it for the first time.
Yeah, absolutely. She got in it. And the funny thing is we saw it, that was years ago. We saw the same exact rice cooker again this year.
Was there anything living in it this time?
The ONC guys were not interested in stopping to find out.
ONC, what's that stand for?
The used to be Neptune Canada, the
Okay.
Ocean Networks
Ocean
Canada.
Networks Canada, thank you.
Yeah. It's a cable network observatory on the Canadian side, stretching from British Columbia across the Juan de Fuca Plate in a big loop. And so it has power and communications with a network of instrumentation on the seafloor, including seismometers, bottom pressure recorders, some camera arrays. So basically what we do here with ROV ops is we're able to drop in a single moment in time and just kind of get one view of whatever is in front of us. But they can have 24/7 operations in a single point, you know, wherever they're recording something for the entire year. And so they, you know, have a lot of different scientific missions that they're working on there, and some as far out as the main Endeavour event field. So we got to go out there and check out the vents, and there's some temperature recorders stuck in the vents, and those are logging constantly. Really cool stuff. And so we partner with them, and now this was our 5th year, I think, out with them. No, 4th.
So was that
5th,
right
yeah.
before Olympic Coast?
Yes, it was.
Yeah, okay.
I don't think there was one in between. Yeah, that was it.
A lot of hours of manipulating cables.
Yeah. A lot of things to plug in, unplug, replace sensors, etc. Bridge nav. Let's add one more step, 100 meters east. Thank you.
Some other interesting things we've seen out here, sort of outside of Monterey Bay, is about 5 to 8 years ago, a container ship hit some bad weather, and 15 of their shipping containers fell off the vessel and into the sanctuary.
Oh.
And the Monterey Bay Aquarium Research Institute, we didn't know about it until Monterey Bay Aquarium Research Institute was doing a routine dive, and they stumbled upon one. They said, uh-oh, something's coming up in the sonar. What is it? And it turned out to be one of the containers. And the container they found, after some discussion with the company, turned out to be full of tires for your car. And so then we were able to get a settlement out of the company, because you're not supposed to, of course, discharge anything into the sanctuary. So
and they didn't tell you about it.
Got to set. No, it happens all the time. Actually, globally,
Rude.
it happens all the time. Yeah, there's been various estimates on how many shipping containers lose their containers, but one number that's been thrown out is about 10,000 a year.
Wow.
Get lost globally, but
Oh,
that is probably not an accurate estimate. Yeah, so some of the other ones that fell off in our sanctuary included hospital beds, cyclone fencing, cardboard, hair accessories. Someone was hoping for a whole container full of wine, but we did not find any wine.
I think we had bread trays in Greater Fairlawn December, maybe 5 years ago. Containers fell off. I think some of them may have floated down as far as I don't quite remember. But I think they were like foam bread trays. I don't even know exactly what that is, but.
Yeah, containers can float for a while, which can be a navigation hazard, of course. So with foam contents, I bet it made it pretty buoyant for a little while, and then they ultimately sink. But we are continuing to monitor the lost container that we did find. In fact, we'll be going out again next year to just see how it's decomposing and if it starts to spill open and see what's there. What they can do is act as hard substrate in an otherwise soft bottom environment, so the community gets altered in some way because one, it can smother things because it landed, like Dorothy's house did in The Wizard of Oz. But it also can be a stepping stone for organisms that need hard substrate. So there could be stepping stones all along the ocean floor because there are probably ship containers all along the seafloor acting as hard substrate.
Yeah, I've heard of those just slightly submerged containers causing major, ships going down very quickly after hitting a container that's just under the surface.
Mm-hmm.
There's a movie about that.
Navigation. Oh, really?
I think it's Robert Redford, maybe.
Oh yeah, when he's on a sailboat and
Yeah.
he's sailing around the world. Mm-hmm.
I haven't
I
seen
try
it.
not to watch those tragedies at sea. It's just a little bit too close to home.
Yeah.
I don't need that running through my head.
Al was telling me that he was working with an astronaut, and she was sharing some photos of them watching gravity in this International Space Station.
Yeah.
Which seems like something you wouldn't want to do, but they weren't afraid.
Yeah, I don't think I would have. Not my cup of tea.
So for those of you just tuning in, we are working our way along a flank of the north side of Pioneer Canyon, just southwest of San Francisco. Right now, we're looking at soft bottom habitat with sea pens, some grenadier fish that swim by. Right now, there's not a whole lot to look at. What else have we been seeing?
Marine snow.
Marine snow. There's a lot of particulates in the water.
Few hagfish.
Black-tailed snailfish, hagfish.
Anemones like this one.
Thorny heads.
Some.
Earlier on in the dive, we had Acanthogorgia, Swiftia, a couple of species of branching corals.
A few umbellulas here.
Which is a sea pen.
We had one cat shark.
That is a codling on our left, a blackfish.
We saw quite a number of possible ammunition and a mysterious sea chest.
Yeah. That's pretty cool. Things you find at the bottom of the ocean.
Left to his own devices, Dan probably would have opened it. What could possibly go wrong?
At Davidson Seamount, the military do some exercises out there, and I think we were north of there last year, and we saw what looked like to be a torpedo, probably be a meter long or so, maybe not as long, and we later found out or discovered or assumed that it was just a training munition. It was not a live torpedo-like munition, but at the time we're like, oh my goodness, what is this? So we'll see things like that every once in a while. But out here, there is an old Navy dump munitions. So that's why we might be seeing some of that in this video today.
I was going to ask how far away, but I guess if we're seeing things, we must have partially gone through it.
Yeah, or as they're dumping it, it sort of can float and spread out a little bit as it's sinking to the seafloor. This might not have been their target, but it could have drifted. An interesting marine debris object we saw at Davidson. I don't know if it's interesting, but it was an old glass dairy bottle, and we were able to zoom in on it, and it was from a dairy up in the Petaluma area, or that county, that had gone out of business during World War II. So although it may not have been dumped during that time, because it could have been on a ship for a long period of time and then fallen off the ship, but it's probably the oldest thing man-made that I've seen is something from World War II. We've also seen a glass Coca-Cola bottle with Korean writing on it, so it came from Korea. Seen that at Davidson, seen that. So you never know what you might find out here.
Yeah, a lot of the debris that we can find in these waters is carried to us from Asia. So we can definitely find a lot of things that have that didn't necessarily originate from here. Ocean's like a conveyor belt.
And we're slowly moving about the 1,100 meter contour on our way to our next waypoint, which may be about halfway through our whole dive, maybe a little less, at 1C.
Oh. Where is it? Oh. How about any control? Yeah.
You want me to pull it up? To control it, or what's going on with it? Remote desktop has ended. Well,
Is it possible to see where viewers are logged in from, what countries?
I don't have that. I'm not sure if Steven or Taylor Ann has access to that page. Where, as you know, we don't have the communicator on our watch, and I don't know that anyone's doing that duty.
Yeah, just curious. No worries.
Just the viewers online.
Yeah, no, I don't have that information.
Okay.
I'm not sure if Steve does or.
I don't have that.
It looks like it's still capturing every 30 seconds, or that's what it's set to. But I don't know if it stopped doing that. Oh, okay. So what was all that remote stuff? Oh. Is there one in the bottle? Oh, wow. I see. So this is just a remote. Okay, got it. Yeah. All right. I like to look at the sub bottom every once in a while, but
Yeah,
we're good for now. Yep. Snowplow. Bridge nav. One more step, 100 meters east. After that, I think we can go a little bit to the northeast. We'll go maybe 065 towards C, and then there is a brighter backscatter area around C.
Yeah, the geologist said that once we get to 1C, if it's muddy, we'd like to go upslope a little bit. So I know that's going to take a little while, but when we get there, we'll check it out. And if it's, yeah.
Let me zoom out on HYPACK here, and I'll show you Bathy overlaid. So I don't know if you can see that right now. Here we are over here in this little general area, and then we have 1C is over here. So right now we'll kind of go along this to this area close to 1C, and then upslope will be this direction south.
Yeah. Okay. Good.
So
sounds like it.
See what we get. If we do go
sounds
upslope,
like a good plan.
We'll be quite a ways away from D and E, but we can sort that out when we get there.
Okay. Thank you.
Whatever happened to the dry dock that sank out here? Did they ever pick it up, or is it now part of the terrain?
It is. It's still there.
Did you guys ever go back and look at it again after the first time?
No, not after the first time. And I don't know what future plans might be. Jan wants to. Jan says the dry dock is still under investigation.
Still under investigation. Oh.
So it is down there. So anything discharged into the sanctuary or anything disrupting the seabed are both violations. And so investigation into, what kind of damage was done, what the habitat in the area where it made contact was like. Is it possible to refloat, that kind of thing?
Uh-huh.
Did you dive on it, Dan, last year?
Yeah, we came out with Jan when we found it the first time.
Mm-hmm.
And poked around it for a couple days, and then looked around on the seabed, northeast, south, and west of it. It was a lot bigger than I expected. It's a huge dry dock. Must be providing a lot of substrate now, though. Be interesting to see
Yeah,
it years later.
What is it? 2, 3 years?
Yeah, must have been.
How big exactly?
I forget what the dimensions are. It's like football size.
Yeah, it's pretty large.
I mean, basically like a barge of sorts, I think. Does that sound about right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I think it started taking water and going down while the vessel that was pulling it was still connected.
It's kind of scary.
That must have been a pretty exciting moment to cut a cable of that size and extract yourself before getting pulled down too.
Yeah.
Yeah, they had weather, didn't they? It started taking on water.
Yeah. Yeah. You can imagine the liability conversations when you have a seller, a buyer, and a shipper all trying to say not it.
Yeah.
But I don't know the ins and outs of that at all.
Now we've got more sea pens galore.
Yeah.
Some grenadier,
It's kind of the theme out here.
anemones. Mm-hmm. We're seeing a few more eel pouts, these long, slender, eel-like, eel-shaped fish. It's not a true eel, but they are long.
Gonna call in a move 070.
Roger.
Towards sea. Hopefully along that a bit. Bridge nav. One move 100 meters, bearing 070. Thank you. Sure, we'll continue east for a bit. Then it'll swing.
So many of you on board had to go through a quarantine process, right? So to make sure everyone's safe, and
That's correct.
Yes, all of us.
that's good. People may be wondering, well, how can they be on a vessel? They go to great lengths to do the right thing.
Yeah, 2-week quarantine and testing. We're wearing masks right now. Dan and I, we started quarantine in late July, I believe.
Yeah.
Oh my goodness.
It's been a while.
And do the crew
So when
live
you come
on
in,
the ship year round, or they come on and off as much as you guys do?
Some of them are more they stay for longer stints.
Yeah.
Yeah, so they were in dry dock in Ensenada performing some upgrades, including the engine upgrade of the main engine. And they were kind of stuck on the ship down there while all this happened.
Yeah. That's a bummer.
Yeah. But a few of them have rotated out. And I'm sure the ones that are on right now will rotate out in the next month or so.
Well, even though you're wearing masks, I can hear you loud and clear.
That's good. Good to hear.
What have we got here?
Angular
Yeah,
piece of
we,
metal or wood, something.
Debris.
Debris. Long enough for an enemies to colonize.
Substrate. We haven't named the new engine yet, have we?
Oh,
Needs a name.
yeah.
Or maybe it just doesn't get a name and stays anonymous.
Yeah. It needs to do
No
something.
trouble.
Yeah. Needs to do something that deserves a name. The last engine was named Thor because man, when it started, it was it's powerful. Much lower frequency and much louder.
Yeah, the first day on board this year, we were at sea underway, but I came onto the deck and thought we had stopped because it was too quiet.
Yeah. And then when we're at mapping speed, which is usually under 10 knots, so around 9 knots, you really can't tell because there's a lot less vibration.
Is it better for the multi-beam?
Yeah, there's a bit less ship noise, and also you get more, so less ship noise, so you get a wider swath width, and also you get more pings per distance forward on the seafloor.
It's too bad mapping speed and trolling speed aren't synonymous.
Mapping speed and what?
Trolling speed.
Trolling along the seafloor?
For fishing for your dinner
Oh,
behind
yeah.
the boat.
Yeah, yeah. Put them all together. That'd be a long time in the water. What is that little pink one? That's an umbellula, I guess. Just looked a bit funny.
we have a new suggestion for when we get to 1C, and I'll relay it to our next shift. Maybe you guys can do the same.
Sure.
If at 1C it's muddy, we're actually going to skip waypoint 1D
Okay.
and move on to 1E. So when we get there, we'll scope it out and then make a decision.
Sure.
But likely we'll skip 1D. Our geologist was looking at some of the backscatter files and gave us that recommendation.
Sure thing.
We've had a pretty consistent view this shift between midnight and 4, with some debris along the way, made it a little exciting.
Yeah, really kind of what we've seen seems to be pretty well characterizing the area.
Mm-hmm.
So is that backscatter map the darker ones or?
Darker is a lower intensity of return and lighter is higher intensity. Bridge nav. One more step, 100 meters, bearing 070. Thank you. Yeah, so the lighter is the higher intensity of the return. For the most part, this area, yeah, I mean, there are some brighter spots like around at 1C. But we'll see what that means. It could be there's a layer underneath. Oh, that's denser. Could mean that it's rockier right there. It's kind of the hope, I think, is that it means there's rock. But oftentimes, like the way that this is developed is the backscatter is relative to what's around it. There are absolute values of intensity of the return, but they're going to depend a lot on like slope and because that'll scatter things differently. And depth, what have you. So it's a bit relative to what's around it, so we can play with it a bit and see what make things stand out a bit more. But in the end, like this is what we're doing right now is pretty much that's the ground truthing, and even still, we don't know what's below sedimentation.
With all these grenadier we're seeing, it reminds me that I've been working on a project with someone at the Monterey Bay Aquarium Research Institute to look at all of their video. They do a lot of deep sea work, and grenadier are definitely the dominant fish in the deep sea. And we've been trying to identify or decipher, better identify what the fish are, the grenadier are, and they're really hard to tell the difference in video. And the taxonomists will tell us that every chance they get. You can't identify them. You need to have them in hand. But we're trying our best to at least put them in groups. So some of the ones we're seeing out here are the Pacific grenadier and the filamented grenadier. You can sometimes lump those into two because they're hard to tell apart in video. Hopefully we'll see a giant grenadier. You'll definitely know what that looks like.
Got a target coming up in sonar.
Snout.
Yeah, right.
Ooh, hard target?
Yeah. Sorry to interrupt you.
No, that's fine. Just fill in the airwaves. Yeah, and so we'll see some other species. Right now, we're just probably seeing Pacifics and the filamented. But I'll definitely point out when we see something different. When we get a little deeper, we'll see a different variety.
Looks like Gary Williams has joined the science chat room.
Good. I imagine he will like to collect a lot of things this next shift, which would be great because he works at the California Academy of Sciences.
Gary sailed with him last year, I think. Encyclopedia. What's it gonna be? What's the target?
You getting close?
Yeah, we're going up slope a little to check it out.
10 meters away.
Hey Gary, just to update you on what we've collected so far. Our first sample that we got was a Swiftia coral. And we also think we found a second coral that was on the list, Canthogorgia coral. Not too sure on that. I'm pretty sure that's what that was. But it was interesting, to say the least. Still something that we're interested in. Anything else to update Gary on, Erica?
No, you did a great job.
Here's our little outcrop that we saw on the sonar. And it looks like there may be some more upcoming, which would help prove our backscatter correct.
You want to stop him up for a minute?
Yeah, bridge nav. Hold position. Thank you.
All right, so we've got some boulders in here.
Some
that's
corals
what
there
they
off
are.
in the distance. I'll come around and have a look.
Yeah.
I'm gonna go ahead
So,
and sign off for the evening, folks. Thanks for the good run.
Thank you.
all right, thanks, Kirsten. I'll keep on for Chad to sign in so we can have a debrief.
A big one.
You
So
want
we
to flip
might end up
around,
doing.
Jake? To let me see if I need to bring you closer.
You can spin around, Jake. Chase it around.
Spinning.
Ship's gonna blow by us. We're
Yeah.
getting into some rocks here.
Want me to come back?
No, you're right. That's all right, as long as he stops.
Yeah, he stopped.
As long
Might
as
be
he
a bit of-
stops and
All
Jake
right.
doesn't hit the mud.
Oh, stop.
Might be a bit of layback.
A nice bamboo coral on the left. Isadella. So what we might end up doing is during this shift change, we'll just maybe stay around this place because the next shift might want to start a transect, depending on how far this goes.
Yeah, sounds good.
Trying to frame this coral up in our digital stills camera.
Great. And those tentacles down below, those are sweeper tentacles. They actually act to keep predators from crawling up onto Isadella.
Huh.
They are stinging cells on there, and we have done some experiments with putting sea stars there, and they jump off as soon as they can, if you can imagine a sea star jumping.
Slowly.
Slowly falling off. So Jan would like us to take a look around here and maybe get some good video to collect a mosaic, but we
You're
might
gonna have
start
to
that on the
step
next
him back.
shift.
Roger.
Sorry, I should have let you do it
Bridge
straight
nav.
away.
Yeah.
Let's
Getting
have a
Pop
30
your
meter
auto heading
step
off for a second.
bearing 220.
Come down 3 meters.
Finally, some holothurians too. This is the place to be.
Oh, sure are.
But so what you can't see is we're right at the edge of where this bright backscatter is, which you can see on HIPAC, but on our sonars, it's starting to look a little more rugose rather than just a flat bottom. So this boulder was kind of the first indicator of that extent. But as we move eastward, it looks like it's a little rougher and likely harder.
Okay, great.
And if you want to throw the sonar on sat 3 for a little bit, we could do that.
Yeah, just let us know.
Okay. I'm trying to get our next shift leader on
Sure.
Sure.
SPL so we can have a little convo.
Can you guys hear me?
Oh, Chad. Yes.
Hey, Chad.
Hello.
All right,
Yes.
Chad. Hello, Chad. I'm going to go off Nautilus Live and chat with you. Is that all right? Just stay on
Yeah,
SPL.
just on. Yeah, we'll do.
The ship? Okay. We'll be back in a minute, folks. We're going to do a shift change. All right. So we've been, can you hear me, Chad?
Yeah.
Okay. We've been mostly soft bottom, a little bit of mixed. We got in 4 transects between the first 2 shifts, collected a few things, Swiftia, maybe Acanella. I think that was it. And a rock with the Swiftia. But right now we just got on rugose habitat. Guy Cochran is probably excited. And he said, if we got to, well, we're not at 1C yet. We're approaching 1C. He says, so right now, Jan suggests taking a look around this rugose habitat, maybe doing a 3D video sweep, and then start a transect in this hard habitat. And then we're going to make our way to 1C. And Guy thinks that if it's muddy, we should skip waypoint 1D and just move to 1E. If it's not muddy, then make a decision. But he's thinking, he just looked at all the backscatter maps and or map, and he thought, if that's mud, let's skip 1D because he thinks it's going to be similar.
Okay, gotcha. So after kind of looking around here and making it to 1D, if it's muddy, move on to 1E.
Well, after this, keep going towards 1C after you do a transect. If 1C is muddy, then you can skip 1D. Maybe that's what you said, but just to reiterate. Yeah. And he may stay online. He's been providing a lot of good comments. Okay.
Have you been logging anything besides transects?
I have not been able to get on the data report, but Kirsten did put some things in there for us.
Okay.
In terms of core organism collection and transect summaries.
Yeah, I got the transect sheet. I don't know where the sample sheet is. There's just so many sheets. That's the one I
the sample
of.
sheet. The data logger is dealing with the sample.
Yes, I can update on the samples that we have so far, Chad. So,
great.
So far we have 2 corals. We have a Swiftia coral. That was the first collection we made. And then our second collection was I can't say this one.
Is it
Acanthogorgia
Acanella? Okay.
Yeah. Yeah, so those are the only 2 coral collections we've done so far. So we'll be moving on to sample 3 whenever you guys decide.
Okay, great.
And Gary will be on your shift, and I assume Gary's going to want to make a bunch of collections if he sees something. So he'll be great to have. He'll be great to have on your shift. Our shift is pretty monotonous. A lot of C-pens and stuff, but right now it just got exciting.
Yeah, we delivered you right to the cool stuff.
I know, right? This is great.
So yeah, look around, maybe do a 3D mosaic of some structure, and then do a transect. Hopefully it's hard bottom, might become mixed, who knows. And then on to 1C, see if it's mud or not.
Okie dokie.
You sound great with your podcast mic.
Yeah, Chad, it's like professional setup.
I'm glad it sounds good.
You need to bring that onto the ship.
I know. I'll just bring it on. No worries.
Thanks. Thanks everybody. It's Dan signing off for crew change or shift change. Thank you. It's been fun.
Thank you. I'm signing off too. Then Gary can sign in, I guess. Good luck. Have fun. Right. Looks like you got a good spot.
Bye, Erica.
Bye.
Awesome.
Gary, can you hear me?
If that's Gary, I can barely hear you. You're super soft. No, you're extremely faint.